Texas's black billionaire mansions are next level. A neo-soul queen turned a Dallas lakefront house into a meditation sanctuary with sonic gongs. Another black NBA legend owned a palatial Houston estate and then sold it for less than a Honda costs. And a 27-year-old rapper dropped $14.5 million on a glass palace with a 600-pound front door backing up to a museum. These aren't your typical Texas McMansions. These are black-owned estates that prove everything's actually bigger in Texas, especially the wealth. Stick around, because the mansion at number 1 is absolutely ridiculous. Number 8. Erykah Badu, the lakefront Badudio. Let's start with Erykah Badu, because her Dallas property is the perfect example of what people can actually do with so much space. Badu's lakefront home near White Rock Lake is roughly 5,000 square feet with 4 bedrooms, which sounds modest until you hear what she did with it. She turned the entire place into what she calls the Badudio, half residence, half creative studio, and outfitted it with the most Erykah Badu amenities imaginable. The primary suite has a private infrared sauna because apparently regular saunas aren't healing enough. There's a dedicated meditation room stocked with sonic gongs and tuning instruments for sound therapy sessions. A vintage Fender Rhodes piano sits in the living area, ready whenever inspiration strikes at 3 a.m. The whole house, designed by architect Jamie Rowe, emphasizes glass walls and open space overlooking the water, creating this seamless flow between inside and outside that feels more like an art installation than a traditional home. Here's what makes this property interesting. Badu lived here for decades before selling in 2021, and the whole time it functioned as both her sanctuary and her workplace. Most celebrities buy houses to flex wealth. Badu bought a house to create music and maintain her sanity in an industry designed to drain both. The lakefront location provided isolation for creativity while keeping her connected to Dallas's cultural scene. It's functional luxury designed around artistic output, not just consumption. And honestly, that might be the most on-brand thing possible for someone who's built an entire career on being unapologetically herself. Badu's approach to real estate reflects a broader pattern. Buying properties that serve dual purposes as residences and creative infrastructure, maximizing utility while building equity in appreciating Dallas markets. The Badudio wasn't trying to be the biggest or flashiest, it was trying to be a space where actual art could happen. And in a city where most luxury real estate is cookie-cutter suburban sprawl, a lakefront meditation sanctuary with sonic gongs is exactly the kind of weird that stands out. Sonic gongs and infrared saunas in 5,000 square feet of creative sanctuary. Very Badu. But what happens when an NBA legend builds a lagoon pool palace in Houston, then sells it for pocket change? Number 7. Hakeem Olajuwon, the dream who understood real wealth. Hakeem, the dream. Olajuwon's former North Houston mansion tells you everything you need to know about the difference between looking rich and being rich. His estate on Pine Lake Trail in the exclusive Northgate Forest neighborhood had 4 bedrooms, 6 full baths, 2 half baths, a wine cellar, an expansive game room, and an outdoor summer kitchen. The backyard featured this absolutely ridiculous island-style lagoon pool with an integrated spa and waterfall that the listing literally described as a dream home feature, calling it dream-worthy for the dream himself. Built in 1983, the place had all the luxury amenities you'd expect from a 2-time NBA champion and Hall of Famer. And then in 2017, Hakeem sold it for under $600,000. Let that sink in for a second. Under $600,000 for a palatial Houston estate. In most markets, that barely buys a decent condo. But here's what's genius about this. While other athletes were buying the biggest, flashiest mansions they could afford and watching their net worth evaporate through property taxes and maintenance costs, Hakeem was quietly accumulating commercial and residential properties across Houston that actually generated cash flow. He famously owns shopping malls, office buildings, and apartment portfolios citywide, assets that appreciate and produce income rather than just sitting there looking impressive. Selling his personal residence for under $600,000 while holding millions in commercial real estate shows, he understands something most wealthy people completely miss. Your primary residence is lifestyle spending, not an investment. The real wealth is in income-producing properties that work for you 24/7. Hakeem's Northgate Forest estate was beautiful, sure, but his willingness to sell it relatively cheap while maintaining his commercial empire proves he's playing a completely different wealth game than most athletes. He's not house-rich and cash-poor. He's strategically liquid while his commercial properties compound in value year after year. His approach influenced a generation of Houston athletes and entrepreneurs. Buy the lifestyle property you want, absolutely, but build serious wealth through commercial real estate that doesn't require you to live in it. Most athletes think the mansion is the flex. Hakeem knew the real flex was owning the mall. Hakeem sold his dream pool for under $600,000 but owns Houston real estate worth millions. Now let's talk about a family that's owned the same Texas land for 144 years straight. Number 6. Black Brothers. Mule Shoe Ranch. Generational land power. Way outside the Houston and Dallas mansion scene sits the Black Brothers Mule Shoe Ranch in rural Stevens County near Breckenridge. 2,806 acres of cattle and hunting land that represents something way more powerful than any urban estate. Generational black land ownership that survived nearly a century and a half. The Black family has owned this ranch for nearly 144 years. Read that again. 144 years. Through Jim Crow, through economic depressions, through every attempt to displace black property holders in rural Texas, this family held onto their land. And now it's in the hands of 3 fourth-generation siblings who listed it for approximately $8 million. That breaks down to roughly $2,850 per acre, which is serious money for rural Texas land. But the property carries legacy status that goes way beyond dollar amounts. This isn't just raw acreage sitting empty. It's a fully operational premier cattle and hunting ranch with rolling pasture and wooded creek country, multiple reservoirs and stock ponds, several residential structures including a historic main house and detached guest buildings. The infrastructure alone represents decades of investment. Dozens of water tanks, professionally fenced pastures, deer blinds strategically positioned for hunting season, extensive cattle facilities that support actual working ranch operations. There's also a private hunting lodge that can accommodate guests during deer season, making it both a functional ranch and a recreational estate. This dual-use model creates value beyond just land appreciation. It generates income through cattle operations while serving as a legacy asset for the family. Here's what makes the Mule Shoe Ranch culturally significant beyond the numbers. Black land ownership in rural Texas dating back to the late 1800s, surviving intact through Jim Crow and everything that came after, is almost unheard of. Property taxes alone have forced countless families to sell. Development pressure turned farmland into subdivisions. Economic downturns made holding onto land impossible. The Black family kept it anyway, for 144 years. At $8 million, the Mule Shoe Ranch represents old money Texas wealth in its purest form. Land that's been paid off for generations, producing income through agriculture, appreciating in value as Texas grows, and serving as a family anchor that connects descendants to their actual roots. A 144-year-old family ranch worth $8 million proves land is the original generational wealth. But what if you wanted a French chateau in Dallas with a 2-lane bowling alley built into your house? Number 5. J. Prince, the rap mogul's private resort. James J. Prince. Prince didn't just buy a big house in the Dallas suburbs. He bought a French chateau-style mega-mansion in Heath, Texas, that real estate listings literally describe as a private resort. And honestly, that's not marketing exaggeration. Listed at $4.4 million in late 2025, this estate spans over 12,000 square feet on about 5.46 acres of manicured grounds. 6 full-bedroom suites including a first-floor in-law suite, because when you're hosting family or business associates in the music industry, everyone gets their own space with private bathrooms. No sharing, no waiting. But here's where J. Prince's mansion goes completely sideways. The entertainment amenities are absolutely extreme in a way that makes most celebrity houses look boring. There's a 2-lane bowling alley built into the house. Not 1 lane for novelty, 2 full regulation lanes so you can actually have competitive games without leaving home. A 12-seat movie theater with cinema-grade sound and projection. A billiards room for late-night games when the bowling gets old. wine storage that holds serious collections for someone who's spent decades closing deals over expensive bottles. The great room and foyer soar with tall ceilings and wrought iron details that give it authentic French chateau energy, while a formal dining room and sunlit library open to a balcony overlooking the estate grounds. The gourmet kitchen features black cabinetry and top-tier appliances. There's an elevator for multi-floor access, and here's the part that tells you everything: a safe room. Because when you've spent decades in the music industry dealing with contracts worth millions, running one of the most powerful Southern hip-hop labels in history, security isn't optional, it's infrastructure. Outdoors, there's a lavish pool and spa setup that genuinely turns the backyard into a resort experience, rather than just a nice pool. And J. Prince purchased this estate in 2019, originally built in 2015, and has kept it extremely private ever since, rarely allowing media access or public tours. That privacy reflects his entire approach to business: operate powerful behind the scenes, control the narrative, keep personal life completely separate from public persona. Rap-A-Lot records help define Southern hip-hop, but if you ask most people what J. Prince's house looks like, they have no idea. That's intentional. The Heath location is strategically brilliant, close enough to Dallas for business and entertainment connections, but far enough outside the city for privacy and space. The 5.46-acre lot provides isolation that urban mansions can't offer, creating a compound feel where security and exclusivity are baked into the property's geography. J. Prince's chateau represents hip-hop mogul wealth in its most refined form. Entertainment-focused amenities like bowling alleys and theaters, luxury finishes that signal decades of success, and enough space to host industry events without ever needing to rent venues or expose your business to outsiders. Next up, we have a construction mogul with $150 million in projects who owns multiple Dallas estates nobody's allowed to photograph. Number 4. Gerald B. Alley, the developer who stays in the shadows. Gerald B. Alley and his brother Troy Jr. built Conreal into Texas's largest black-owned construction and real estate firm. And by 2021, the company had roughly $150 million in projects under contract. That number alone makes Alley one of the richest African-American developers in Texas. But here's where his story gets interesting. Details about his personal residences are deliberately, strategically scarce. Given Conreal's market niche, major projects like the Fort Worth Arena Garage, major office towers across Dallas, large-scale commercial developments that literally reshape the skyline, you know Alley's private homes feature the same high-end finishes and architectural sophistication his company delivers to clients. Media coverage confirms he reportedly owns multiple upscale Dallas area homes and investment properties. But exact addresses, floor plans, architectural details? Almost nothing is public. This privacy isn't accidental. Developers who work on high-profile public projects often keep their personal real estate holdings quiet to avoid scrutiny of their wealth while managing government contracts and community development projects. When you're bidding on municipal contracts worth tens of millions, you don't want city council members or community activists Googling your house and questioning whether you're overpaid. What we know for certain, Alley's name is attached to over $150 million in Dallas real estate development, and his company's headquarters operates out of Dallas, suggesting his primary residences are likely in affluent suburbs where executives at his wealth level typically live. A D Magazine CEO profile emphasizes his business empire while indicating he maintains a comfortable suburban estate consistent with someone controlling 9 figures in active projects. Here's what makes developer wealth different from other kinds of money on this list. Alley has access to wholesale construction costs, relationships with architects and designers before they're famous, and knowledge of emerging Dallas neighborhoods before they appreciate. This insider positioning allows developers to build or acquire properties at significant discounts compared to retail buyers. Think about it. If you own a construction company and you want to build your dream house, you're paying cost on materials, cost on labor, and you're managing the project yourself. No markup, no contractor premium, no retail pricing. The same house that would cost a regular buyer $5 million might cost Alley $2.5 million to build. Alley's wealth model is operational rather than passive. Conreal generates revenue through active construction contracts, with profits reinvested into new projects and personal real estate holdings. This creates a flywheel where business success funds property acquisition, which provides collateral for larger projects, which generates more profit for more acquisitions. And his legacy in Dallas extends beyond personal wealth. Conreal's projects have literally reshaped Dallas's skyline and infrastructure, creating jobs and economic activity that benefit the broader community while building Ali's personal fortune simultaneously. The fact that you can't Google his house is probably exactly how he wants it. Build wealth quietly, operate powerfully. Let the work speak louder than the lifestyle. Now, before we move on to our next billionaire mansion, here's some good news for you. We're offering exclusive memberships for our loyal subscribers, which includes early access to exclusive content, loyalty badges in your name, and official shoutouts in our videos. Join Black Status as a channel member right now and become part of the inner circle. Let's build this community together. See you on the inside. Number 3. 50 Cent, the Black and White Wellness Palace. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson relocated to Houston in 2021. And listen, when 50 makes a move, it's never just about real estate. It's about taxes, business positioning, and sending a message. His Houston estate does all three. According to features in Architectural Digest and EOS Weekly, 50's Houston residence is decorated in a dramatic black and white theme throughout, which is either genius minimalism or aggressively moody depending on whether you think monochrome design is sophisticated or someone watched too many noir films. Probably both, honestly. But the real story is the resort-style spa amenities that turn this property into a personal wellness facility instead of just a big house. There's a private spa wing with a sauna for post-workout recovery, a cold plunge pool for contrast therapy that athletes and biohackers swear by, and an indoor lap pool for year-round swimming regardless of Houston's oppressive summer heat or random winter freezes. There's also a custom home theater for private screenings, because of course there is, and a wine cellar that stores serious collections, which makes sense given 50's champagne and cognac business ventures. He's literally invested in the alcohol industry, so the wine cellar isn't just lifestyle, it's brand research. Now here's the thing. The exact Houston address remains undisclosed for security reasons. And before you think that's paranoid, remember this is someone who spent decades publicly beefing with people, survived being shot 9 times, and built a career on controlled chaos. When 50 Cent keeps his address private, that's not celebrity vanity. That's legitimate security protocol. Local reports confirm that his Texas estate rivals high-end resorts in amenities and finishes, reflecting his transition from rapper to Houston-based businessman building entertainment infrastructure across the South. He's got a $50 million entertainment project in Shreveport, he's establishing Houston as his operational base, and the mansion functions as both residence and business headquarters. What makes 50's Houston move strategically brilliant is the timing. He relocated during a period when Texas offered massive tax advantages for high earners compared to California and New York, where he'd previously lived. Houston's lack of state income tax means 50 keeps significantly more of his earnings from music royalties, business ventures, film and TV production deals, and everything else in his portfolio. The black and white design theme isn't random aesthetic choice, it's brand reinforcement. Everything 50 does is calculated for image impact, and a monochromatic mansion fits the tough, no-nonsense persona he's cultivated for 25 years. It's luxury, but it's aggressive luxury that signals power rather than softness. And let's be real, 50 Cent's Houston presence represents a broader trend of entertainment figures relocating to Texas for business advantages while maintaining the lifestyle amenities they enjoyed in LA or New York. The spa wing, indoor pool, and resort-style features mean he's not sacrificing comfort for tax savings. He's replicating California luxury in Texas at lower cost with significantly better financial terms. His Houston estate functions as both residence and business asset, a place to host industry meetings, entertain collaborators, close deals, and project success to anyone who visits. In hip-hop, your home is part of your brand, and 50's monochrome fortress sends a clear message. He's operating at the highest level, doing it on his own terms, in a state that lets him keep more of what he earns. 50 Cent built a black and white wellness fortress with cold plunge therapy and indoor lap pools. calculated luxury. Now let's talk about the Nigerian oil executive who owns the only black bank in Texas and lives in 15,000 square feet of institutional power. Number 2. Case Lawal, 15,000 square feet oil money palace. Dr. Case L. Lawal represents a completely different type of black wealth in Texas. Nigerian-born oil executive money combined with institutional banking power that's shaped Houston's financial infrastructure for decades. Lawal is a longtime investor in Unity National Bank, the only black-owned bank in Texas, and his family took majority ownership in 2005. He also chairs several energy companies, positioning him at the intersection of Houston's two most powerful industries, oil and finance. Lawal's personal Houston mansion is reportedly on the order of 15,000 square feet, far larger than typical luxury homes and closer to estate-level properties that signal serious generational wealth. While precise details remain private for security reasons, because when you control banking assets and oil interests, you don't advertise your home address, public records and media profiles consistently note the size and luxury features. The mansion includes amenities you'd expect at this wealth level: a home theater for private entertainment, a private spa for wellness and recovery, and custom finishes throughout that reflect Lawal's status as one of Houston's most successful international businessmen. The 15,000 square foot scale means there's likely dedicated wings for family, guests, staff, and entertaining, creating separation between private and semi-public spaces. What makes Lawal's wealth particularly significant is how it's structured. Oil industry returns provide enormous cash flow, while Unity National Bank ownership gives him institutional credibility and community impact that extends beyond personal enrichment. Unity National has been crucial in providing banking services to underserved Houston communities, making Lawal's financial success directly tied to community economic development. Lawal's downtown Houston banking legacy through Unity National is matched by his sprawling high-end estate, creating a dual presence in both the business district and affluent residential areas. This geographic positioning reflects how serious wealth operates. Maintain visibility and credibility downtown where deals happen, but live in private estates where family and personal life remain protected. The Nigerian immigrant-to-oil executive trajectory is relatively rare in American wealth stories, and Lawal's success demonstrates how international business expertise combined with strategic industry positioning can generate massive fortunes. Houston's role as America's energy capital created opportunities for someone with Lawal's background to build wealth that might not have been accessible in other cities. Lawal's 15,000 square foot mansion represents old money energy wealth, built on decades of oil industry returns, maintained through conservative banking investments, and designed for multi-generational legacy rather than flashy consumption. It's the kind of property that gets passed down through family trusts rather than sold when markets shift. His wealth model, oil returns plus banking ownership, creates diversification that protects against industry downturns. When oil prices drop, banking income stabilizes cash flow. When banking faces regulatory pressure, oil assets provide liquidity. This structural balance is what separates temporary wealth from permanent family fortunes. But while Case Lawal's 15,000 square foot palace is indeed impressive, it still falls shy of our number one spot, where we have a popular black rapper who dropped $14.5 million on a Museum District glass palace with a 600-pound front door. Number 1. Travis Scott. The $14.5 million architectural masterpiece. 6,800 pounds. That's just the weight of the front door, let alone the rest of the house. Travis Scott's Houston mansion at 5750 Main Street in the Museum District features an enormous 600-pound pivot door that requires actual engineering precision to operate smoothly. And quite frankly, that detail tells you everything you need to know about this property. Travis purchased this sleek contemporary palace around 2019 for roughly $14.5 million. And at just 27 years old at the time, that's the kind of real estate move that separates people who understand wealth from people who just spend money. The home spans about 12,000 square feet over 3 stories and sits on approximately 1.5 acres, backing directly up to Herman Park, with floor-to-ceiling glass walls providing unobstructed views of Houston's museum campus. This isn't just a house with nice views. It's architecturally integrated into Houston's cultural district in a way that makes the property itself feel like part of the museum experience. Walk through that 600-pound door, and you enter a double-height great room with full-height glazing that blurs the line between interior and exterior space. The entire design philosophy is about transparency and connection to the surrounding cultural institutions. You're not looking at generic backyard landscaping, you're looking at world-class museums and parkland that make the home feel culturally embedded rather than isolated. And here's the kicker. Despite being 12,000 square feet, the mansion has just 3 bedrooms. 3. Most houses this size have 8 or 10 bedrooms minimum. But each of Travis's bedrooms is enormous with spa-style bathrooms that feel like luxury hotel suites, and the reduced bedroom count makes sense when you see how the space is actually used. There's a built-in 15-seat home theater with cinema-grade projection and sound, a fully equipped gym with professional training equipment, multiple flexible game and studio spaces where Travis can work on music without ever leaving home. The house isn't designed for hosting dozens of overnight guests. It's designed for living and creating at the highest level. Outside, there are 2 swimming pools with one featuring a waterfall, plus a poolside pavilion and a separate guest house for actual guests or staff. The professional-grade chef's kitchen includes top-tier appliances like sub-zero refrigeration and wolf ranges, with a massive island that functions as both prep space and casual dining area. Now here's what separates this property from every other rapper mansion. The location in the museum district is absolutely crucial to understanding its value. This isn't just about square footage or amenities. It's about positioning in one of Houston's most culturally significant neighborhoods, surrounded by world-class institutions and directly adjacent to Herman Park's green space. The glass walls are not just aesthetic. They frame views of museums and parkland that make the home feel integrated into Houston's cultural infrastructure, rather than sitting apart from it. You're not just buying a house, you're buying context. At just 26 when he purchased it, Travis demonstrated wealth sophistication beyond his years. Instead of buying the biggest house possible in a suburban subdivision where every mansion looks identical, he invested in architecturally significant property in an elite urban location that will appreciate as Houston's museum district continues developing. The modern design ensures the home won't feel dated in 20 years. There are no trendy finishes or gimmicky features that'll look embarrassing in a decade. It's clean contemporary architecture that transcends trends, which is exactly what you want in a $14.5 million investment. And those museum campus views? Irreplaceable. You can't recreate that context anywhere else in Houston. The property's value is partially tied to Herman Park and the surrounding cultural institutions, which means as long as those museums exist, and they will, because they're endowed institutions with hundreds of millions in funding, the location maintains premium status. In short, this is a Houston cultural figure whose home reflects the city's artistic identity while functioning as a legitimately important piece of contemporary architecture. And honestly, that might be the most Texas thing possible, going so big that the front door alone weighs more than most people's cars. And that's a wrap on our journey through insane Texas billionaire mansions that are actually next level. Which one of these houses impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments. And for more such interesting peeks into how Black wealth is prospering across the globe, take a look at Black Status.